वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः. So this morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, chapter number 9, chapter entitled as The Appearance of the Demon Vritrasur, text number 4. तद्देव हेलनं तस्य धर्मालिकं सुरेश्वर आलक्ष्य तरसा भीत तच्छीर्षानि अचिनदृशा तद्देव हेलनं तस्य धर्मालिकं सुरेश्वर आलक्ष्य तरसा भीत तच्छीर्षानि अचिनदृशा तद्देव हेलनं तस्य धर्मालिकं सुरेश्वर आलक्ष्य तरसा भीत तच्छीर्षनि अचिनदृशा. हेलनस्तस्य जय श्री श्री राधा वृंदावन बिहारी भगवान की जय. माताजी. तद्देव हेलनं तस्य. Word to word meaning. Tad, that. Devahelanam, offense to the demigods. Tasya, of him. Vishwarupa. Dharma alikam, cheating in religious principles. Pretending to be the priest of demigods, but secretly acting as the priest of the demons also. Sura Ishwaraha, the king of the demigods. Alakshya, observing. Tarasa, quickly. Bhitaha, being afraid that the demons would gain strength by being blessed by Vishwarupa. tad, his, Vishwarupas, Shirsani, heads, Achinnad, cut off, Rusha, with great anger. Translation: Once upon a time, however, the king of heaven Indra understood that Vishwarupa was secretly cheating the demigods by offering oblations on behalf of the demons. He became extremely afraid of being defeated by the demons. And in great anger at Vishwarup, he cut Vishwarupa's three heads from his shoulders. So, since there is no purport, we'll read further. Text 5. Somapitam tu yat tasya shira asit kapinjala kalavinka surapitam annadam yat satittari. Translation: Thereafter, the head meant for drinking somaras was transformed into kapinjala, francolin partridge. Similarly, the head meant for drinking wine was transformed into kalavinka, sparrow, and the head meant for eating food became a tittiri, common partridge. Text number 6. Brahmahatya manjana anjalina jagraha yad apishwarah संवत्सरान्ते तद अघम भूतानाम स विशुद्धये भूमि अम्बुद्रुमा योषिध्यास चतुर्धा vyabhajadhari. Translation: Although Indra was so powerful that he could neutralize the sinful reactions for killing a Brahmana, he repentantly accepted the burden of these reactions with folded hands. He suffered for 1 year, and then to purify himself, he distributed the reactions for this sinful killing among the earth, water, trees, and women. Text number 7. Bhumis Turyam Jagraha Khatapura Varena Vai Irinam Brahma Hatyaya Rupam Bhumo Pradarshyate. In return for King Indra's benediction, that ditches in the earth would be filled automatically. The land accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions for killing a Brahmana. Because of those sinful reactions, we find many deserts on the surface of the earth. Purport: Because deserts are manifestations of the earth's diseased condition, no auspicious ritualistic ceremony can be performed in a desert. Persons destined to live in the deserts are understood to be sharing the reactions for the sin of Brahma Hatya, the killing of a Brahmana. So, 3 more verses also we'll see. Puriyam cheda virohena varena jagruhdruma tesham niryasa rupena Brahmahatya pradarshate. In return for Indra's benediction, that their branches and twigs would grow back when trimmed, the trees accepted 1/4 of the reactions for killing a Brahmana. These reactions are visible in the flowing of sap श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणान् रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादा सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So we have begun this new chapter, the appearance of the demon Vritrasur, continuing the storyline further, wherein Indra, because he has disrespected his spiritual master Brahaspati, because of having the pride, he neglected his spiritual master Brahaspati, and as a cause of which we see the demigods have lost their power, they have lost their position, and due to the advice of Brahmaji, who told that you have disrespected one Brahmana, so now you take shelter of another Brahmana. So the son of Twashta, Vishwarupa. So with that advice from Brahmaji, we see how Indra and all the demigods, they took shelter of Vishwarupa. But here in this chapter, we see when Indra was seeing that Vishwarupa was offering oblations not only on behalf of the demigods, but he was also offering oblations on behalf of the demons also. Because from the father's side, he was connected to the demigods, and from his mother's side, he was connected to the demons. So, therefore, Vishwarupa was equally compassionate to both the demons and the demigods. So, when he was offering oblations to the demigods, he would recite mantras very loudly. Indraya Swaha, Chandraya Swaha, that way. But when he would offer oblations to the demon side, he would just very mildly whisper, very invisibly. But one fine day, Indra came to find out that this Vishwarupa, whom he had trusted, that he would only favor us, but he's secretly favoring the demons also. So, what did Indra do? He just cut off the head of Vishwarupa. And because of that, Brahma Hatya. So, we see in the Shastras, different kinds of sins, they have different kinds of reaction. Hmm? But certain sins, they have like a very powerful reaction. Like Bhagavatam speaks of Guru and Lagu. Lagu means small sins. For that, small atonements are sufficient. But some sins are like Brahma Hatya or Go Hatya. They come in the category of like Guru. Guru means they are very high sinful reactions. For that, you need to atone in a very big way. So here we see how Indra is committing the same mistake again and again repeatedly. Before, because of pride, Indra disrespected his spiritual master Brahaspati, and that was a offense which he committed. And here again, because of anger, Indra has cut off the head of another Brahmana. So here he has committed the sin of Brahma Hatya, and that reaction is very powerful. So he explained that how Indra had to suffer for 1 year. And although Indra had the power to neutralize the sinful reactions, but still he accepted, let the suffering come. So for 1 year, Indra suffered. And then after 1 year, Indra took help of 4 people to share all the sinful reactions. So he took help from the trees, he took help from water, he took help from the land, and he took help from the woman. So all these 4 personalities, they took a part of all the sinful reactions which Indra was supposed to suffer, and Indra became free of the sinful reactions. So therefore, we see in the series of verses that we are reading today that how Indra is getting affected with sinful reactions, and he is trying to atone for the sinful reaction. He has done a sinful action for which he is going to get sinful reaction, and he's trying to get free of all these sinful reactions. And repeatedly, even in other places also, we see throughout in the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Indra has committed mistakes. It is not that this episode is the first time. Further, if we go ahead, after a few chapters, we see one entire chapter is there. Indra is afflicted by sinful reactions. That is after the death of Vritrasur. Indra is killing Vritrasur, and Vritrasur again a Brahma Hatya. So at that time, sin personified is coming in the form of a woman who is suffering with tuberculosis, and she is falling up with Indra. And Indra is very much afraid. Although Indra did not want to, he did not have the desire to kill Vritrasur, but the sages told that you kill. Indra quoted this episode. I have killed this Vishwarupa, who is a Brahmana, and because of that, I suffered sinful reactions. But because I got help from woman, land, trees, and earth, I got saved at that time. You sages, again, you are telling me to do Brahmatya. But the sages said, no, 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 no. You kill the demon Vritrasur, will take care. So therefore, because of the influence of the sages, Indra killed Vritrasur. But later on, when the sin personified came, and Indra was very much afraid by seeing her. So he goes inside this Mansarovar lake and he hides himself. So that lake is surrounded by Lord Shiva's associates. So it is explained that no other person can reach there. So even sin personified cannot come and give the results to Indra. But the problem was Indra was not even getting food because Agni cannot carry food till that place. So therefore, for 1 year, Indra stayed there. So the point is that repeatedly we see that Indra is committing some kind of sin again and again. Sometimes Indra gets affected because of lust and he commits sin, like we see the episode of the Ahalya and Gautama Rishi, when Indra becomes attracted by the wife of Gautama Rishi, Ahalya, and he wants to enjoy. Then Indra disguises himself as Gautama Rishi. He enjoys with Ahalya. And then later on, Gautam Rishi comes to know and he curses Indra. So there also we see that Indra, because of being afflicted by lust, he commits mistake. Here we see Indra is affected by anger and he is cutting off the head of the sage Vishwarupa. And previous episode we see Indra is affected because of pride, because of which he is disrespecting Brahaspati. So again and again, although we see that Indra is a very powerful personality, he is not an ordinary personality. Otherwise, Krishna would not have appointed him as the head of the Devatas. He is the in charge of the Swargaloka. A very big post, a big responsibility. But still, we see a personality like Indra throughout the scriptures. We see many times he commits sinful activity, again repents, Again, he engages in some mistake. So therefore, it is explained that how the demigods, since they are not pure devotees, as Bhagavatam explains, that demigods are karma mishra bhaktas. They are devotees of the Lord, but at the same time, they also have attachment to their power. They also have attachment to their position. They want to have a certain level of control, because of which someone who worships the Supreme Lord, but at the same time, they have desire to perform they have the desire to have control, power, position. They have been posted in the different positions in the universal administration. So these demigods like Indra, Chandra, Vayu, they are all like Karma Mishra Bhaktas. So therefore, repeatedly we see throughout in the Srimad Bhagavatam, some or the other mistake is been committed. But again, like many times Maharaj says that we cannot judge a great personality. When a great soul commit mistakes, we learn the lesson. That's how through the episode of Indra, Srimad Bhagavatam gives various lessons how we should not do this activity. Like Govardhan Puja episode, we learn from Indra how he did not understand who Krishna was. Or during Brahma Vaman Leela, Brahmaji could not understand. So through the various mistakes of demigods, we learn the lesson of what we should not do. At the same time, Maharaj explains that we should never judge these great souls, because we don't know. Indra is a post, but different personalities may have come and they must have evolved in their journey. At a particular time, we may see that Indra, the person who was appointed in that post, he was lusty behind Gautam Rishi's wife. But later on, that person, because of association of Narad Muni or some other great soul, he must have evolved. The same Indra who is seemingly here have killed Vishwarupa because of anger, or the Indra uh, who is affected because of pride, disrespecting Brihaspati. We don't know. That personality may have evolved. So Maharaj explains that we cannot judge these souls, but at the same time, we also learn lesson that how someone who is having such kind of opulence, especially like Indra, is prone to commit mistakes again and again. Because anyone who comes in touch with the mode of passion, hmm, Indra is in constant touch with mode of passion, surrounded with woman, power, position. So the nature of the mode of passion is that it can contaminate one's intelligence, it can pollute one's mind, and it can lead to degradation. Therefore, we see even in the third canto, when Brahmaji is being given the service of creation, before beginning the service of creation, which involves dealing with the mode of passion, Brahmaji is performing austerities. Brahmaji is performing tapasya. And when the Supreme Lord comes, Brahmaji is praying, my dear Lord, you have given me this service of creating, which involves dealing with Rajoguna. So please, I pray that I should not be overcome by false ego. I should not think that I am the controller. I should not deviate in my vows. And the Supreme Lord gives him benediction. So that's how we see that all these great souls, whether it is Brahma or Indra, they commit mistakes because of having being in that position in which they are. But at the same time, they are also gradually evolving. So therefore, we cannot judge these great souls. So we see that, speaking about the theme of Indra getting affected by sinful reactions, we see even in the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is also, when he's giving different kinds of reasons why he will not fight. So, 4 or 5 reasons which Arjuna gives. So, the first reason Arjuna gives for which he will not fight is because of compassion. Arjuna says that Drishtve Mam Swajanam Krishna Yusam Samupastitam Sidanti Mama Gatrani Mukam Cha Parishushati Vepatuscha Sharire Me Romaharshascha Gayate Gandivam Samshrate Hastat Takchaiva Paridayate. When Krishna brings the chariot in front of both the parties, and Arjuna is seeing all his relatives, his hands and legs are shivering, his hairs are standing on end, his mind is reeling. So he's totally overcome by compassion. So the first reason Arjuna gives for not fighting is due to compassion. I cannot fight. And the second reason Arjuna gives for not fighting is loss of enjoyment. Hmm? What is the use, Krishna, of gaining the whole world, but losing all your friends, your relatives, your loved ones? So if someone gives the entire world to us, all the property, but no one is there whom we can love, speak to, then what is the use of the entire world? So the third reason Arjuna gives is sinful reactions. Papameva shraye dasman atvaitan atataina tasmad nara vayam hantum data rashtransa bandhavan swajanam hi katam hatva sukhina shama madhava. So Arjuna is addressing Krishna here as Madhava. Madhava means, oh Krishna, you are the husband of goddess of fortune. You are the husband of Lakshmi ji. But you are telling me to commit a act which is going to bring about misfortune to me. So therefore, he's addressing Krishna as Madhava. He's telling, Papam eva shrayet asman. If I'll kill Krishna, my relatives, then I will be affected by Papam. Sin will overcome me if I slay all these aggressors. Although Prabhupada in the purport explains that these six kinds of people, they can be killed. One who gives poison, one who sets fire to the house, all those reasons Prabhupada gives. But then the principle we understand how Arjuna is explaining that I am fearful of sinful reactions. I should not suffer. Why I should unnecessarily kill? Although the higher principle we understand that Lord Krishna wanted him to kill because it was the war between dharma and adharma. So therefore, Lord wanted Arjuna to kill. But the principle which Arjuna is teaching by speaking that I will be affected by sinful reaction. Therefore, on the next verse also he tells the same thing that yadyapi etena pashyanti lobo pahata chetasa kulakshaya kritam dosham mitra drohe cha patakam katam neyam asmabhi papadasma nivartitum kulakshaya kritam dosham prapashyadbhir janardana. So yadyapi etena pashyati, those people, they are unable to see. What they are unable to see? Because of greed, lobo pahata chetasa. They are unable to see that they are committing sinful activities. But we are able to see that by killing there is sin involved. Why should unnecessarily I kill the person? So therefore we see that Arjuna through his example is teaching that how every living entity has to be afraid of committing sinful activity. As Prabhupada writes, sin means intentionally disobeying the laws which are laid by the Lord. Prabhupada writes in the nectar in the Ishopanishad, in the first verse, Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. In that purport, Prabhupada writes, sin means the root of sin is disobedience against the rules of the Lord. So therefore, any sane man, he knows that the rule in which by which the world is created is like to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. It is not that someone can engage in some activity and escape without being noticed. It is not possible. Even in this material world, we see if someone is breaking some law which is created by the government, whether it is a breaking a traffic signal or any other law which the government makes, so he is punished for that. So if some in this material world, if someone is being punished for breaking the material laws, then we can understand that how the universal management also the same principles, they are more scrutinizingly applied. Therefore, it is said that a black ant in a black mountain in the dark night is doing some activity. No one is able to see, but the Lord sees. A human being may not be able to see. A black ant in a black mountain in the dark night, very difficult to see. But the Supreme Lord, he notices everything. So therefore, as Yamdutas tell Yamraj to Vishnu Dutas, that any activity a living being performs, 12 kinds of witnesses are present. They are telling to speak about the episode of Ajamil, that Ajamil has performed this activity. What is the proof? There is not one or two or three proofs. There are 12 proofs. Then they give, there are the four directions. Then there is earth. Then there is the wind devta. Then there is the super soul, the sun. So like that, every activity is being witnessed by 12 kinds of personalities. So therefore, no one can think that I will commit some activity and I can just escape. In this material world, it may be possible, hmm, because of a lot of corruption and other things. But in the universal management, it is not possible. Huh? One cannot bribe the universal government and try to get escape from sin. But we see in the Vedas that, like in the fifth canto, when the description of hellish planets has been explained, for different kinds of sinful activity which a person commits, there are around 27 to 28 different kinds of hells for which a person is put in. Like we see that Tamishra, Andatamishra, Kumbhipaka, Raurava, Maharaurava. So it is explained that if someone takes on another's wife, children, or money, then that person is pushed in the hell known as Tamishra. There he'll suffer. If someone is very much attached to eating meat, innocently kills animals just to gratify his tongue, then he'll be put in the hell known as Kumbhipaka, where the person will be boiled in the hot oil. And for Brahmahatya, here Indra is killed the Brahmana. So in the fifth canto, it is explained that if someone kills a Brahmana, for that the reaction is he is put in a hell which is named as Kala Sutra. So there is this flat copper plate that is there, and from below a high degree of fire has been ignited, and from top there are hundreds of sun that is there. So that person is burnt from both below and above. So although while reading the fifth canto description of hellish planets, someone may feel that, oh, lot of fear is being used to motivate people to not commit sin. Oh, this is not a proper motivation. But we see that, like in Hindi it is said, like lato ke bhoot baaton se nahi mante. In scripture there are higher motivations also given, but the lowest motivation is out of fear, because many times for people to get shaken up from their slumber, fear is also needed. Although fear is not the highest kind of motivation, but that is also needed to make people become aware of what you are doing is wrong. You need to change your path. So therefore, four kinds of levels with Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that the lowest level of motivation is out of fear. A person is told, don't do this, this is bad. Do this, this is the right thing. And the second level is by giving some reward. Oh, if you do this, then you will get this reward. Like we see so many karma kandiya fruitive results are mentioned, that if you do this, then you will get rewarded by this. If you do this, you get reward. So second level, to motivate someone to engage in activities by rewarding the other person. And the third level of motivation is duty. I will do this because it is my duty to perform. And the topmost motivation is out of love. I will do this particular activity out of love. So although the scriptures wants to motivate us ultimately to love the Supreme Lord, but we also see that there is also fear that is being used, although that is not the highest level of motivation. But people who are at that level, who don't understand, they need to be shaken up. So therefore, this description of hellish planets are also being given in the fifth canto and other places, where if you do sin, you have to atone for it. Therefore, there are this entire process of prayaschitta or atonement that are given in the Vedas. For devotees, it's a different case altogether. By practicing bhakti, everything is taken care. They become free of all the sins. But someone who is not a devotee, for them, like Bhagavatam explains, especially after this fifth canto, when the description of hellish planets is given, and Parikshit Maharaj, when he is hearing all the different kinds of hellish planets, because a pure devotee is para dukkha dukhi. When he hears how different kinds of people will commit sinful activities, because of lack of knowledge or avidya, which Rupa Goswami explains in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that the root of sin is avidya. Because of avidya, a person does material desires, and because of material desires, he engages in papam, material sinful activities, and then as a result, he is suffering. So the root of all the suffering is avidya. So when Parikshit Maharaj is hearing in the fifth canto about all the living entities, they are suffering in different kinds of hell, because he is a Vaishnava, he has a soft heart, a para dukkha dukhi, he is unable to tolerate that. So therefore, Parikshit Maharaj, although he is never going to go to hell, but still, out of concern for all those people who are suffering in the hell, Parikshit Maharaj is asking question in the beginning of the sixth canto, that, my dear Shukdev Goswami, how can these people who are suffering in hell, how these people can be saved? Aduneha Mahabhaga Yataiva Narakannara Nana Ugraya Tanamneyat Tanme Vyakhyatum Arhasi. So, my dear Shukdev Goswami, Aduneha Mahabhaga Yataiva Narakan Nara. All these living entities you have told me that they will be suffering because of their sinful activity in one or the other kinds of hell. So please tell me that how they can be saved. Is there any way? And then we see how Shukdev Goswami, just to test Parikshit Maharaj, although the other paths of karma and jnana, they have been mentioned in the Vedas as a means of prayaschitta or atonement. But here Parikshit Maharaj is not needing all that. Shukdev Goswami is testing. So the first Shukdev Goswami is speaking about the karma kanda process for prayaschitta. Living entities can be saved from hellish planets if they follow all the rules and regulations that are given in the Manu Samhita and all the other Shastras. So that is one way that Shukdev Goswami mentions. But then Parikshit Maharaj is hearing that, but he is not very much happy to hear that. He gives the analogy of the elephant taking bath. So elephant may go to the river, take bath, but again it will come out and again take mud and put all over its body. Manye kunjara sauchavad. So my dear Shukdev Goswami, the prayaschitta or the atonement or the karma kanda process which you have recommended to counteract sinful activity, that's not very appealing to me, because again the person will commit sinful activities. Like Prabhupada gives the example that in the other traditions where people, they whole week they commit sinful activity, and then during Saturday or Sunday they go to the church, they do confession, and after confession again they come back, and again they, next week again it begins, and again in the weekend they again go confess. So this is like prayashchittam, because the heart is not yet pure. The tendency to perform sinful activities has not gone from the root. So therefore, again and again, a person commits sinful activities. Again, he atones through different ways. Again, he comes back, again performs sinful activity. So therefore, Parikshit Maharaj is here rejecting the karma kandiya process of atonement. Then Shukdev Goswami is suggesting jnana vimarshanam. He tells that, okay, by the process of jnana, one can atone for all the sinful activities that one has committed. But then Parikshit Maharaj is also not inspired by hearing that. Then finally, when Shukdev Goswami speaks about Kechit Kevalaya Bhaktya Vasudeva Parayana Agham Dunvanti Karshneya Niharam Iha Bhaskaram. Kechit Kevalaya Bhaktya, by engaging in devotional service, Vasudeva Parayana, unto the Supreme Lord Vasudev, Agham Dunvanti Karshneya Niharam Iha Bhaskara. So if sin is compared to the fog, bhakti or devotion unto the Supreme Lord is compared to a very powerful sunlight. Nihara miha bhaskara. How much ever thick fog may be there, but once the sunlight appears, then all the thick fog is removed at once. So similarly, how much ever sinful activity one may have performed in this lifetime or in previous lifetime. Like Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu explains that two kinds of sins are there. We suffer prarabdha karma and aprarabdha karma. So how to understand whether one has performed sins? So 4 to 5 things Rupa Goswami explains. If someone is born in a low birth, someone is having lot of disease, repeatedly again and again disease is coming. If someone is going through legal complications, legal issues in their life, if someone has a very ugly body, or someone is not educated, so these are all signs of prarabdha karma. Rupa Goswami writes. So bhakti destroys this prarabdha karma. So just by practicing devotional service, Rupa Goswami says that. So one is prarabdha karma and another is aprarabdha karma, which means that in the future, all those sinful reactions are there, which we will have to suffer in the next lifetime. So if aprarabdha karma is compared to a mountain, in that only one handful is the prarabdha karma, which we will be going through in this lifetime. And again, we'll create another prarabdha karma. So it's like a very huge mountain, which is very difficult to eradicate in that sense. But then Rupa Goswami explains that how by just engaging in devotional service of the Lord, by performing bhakti, how only by bhakti, he gives the example. So Rupa Goswami quotes from the Uddhava Gita that how when a woman is going to the kitchen to cook, the main focus is to prepare some good meal to offer to the Lord. But while cooking, she is putting all the wood in the fuel, in that chula, and all the wood which is put, everything is burnt. So in the same way, main purpose of performing devotional service is to get love of God. That is comparing to cooking the food. But a byproduct is destruction of all the prarabdha karma. Woman is not cooking in order to get that ash. That is a byproduct. She is cooking to get the main food. So in the same way, we engage in devotional service in order to achieve love of God. But as a byproduct, all the sinful reactions which are there, beginning with prarabdha, aprarabdha, kutam, bijam. He gives that. He also quotes from Padma Puran that aprarabdha phalam papam, kutam bijam phalon mukham, krameneva praliyeta, Vishnur bhakti ratatmanam. When one engages in devotional service to the Supreme Lord, from aprarabdha to prarabdha, everything is burnt by performing devotional service to the Lord. So therefore, we see that although in the scriptures for non-devotees there are other prescribed processes that are mentioned in order to engage in prayashchitta or atonement, but Bhagavatam for devotees gives very clear that just by engaging in Navada Bhakti, one can easily become free from all sinful reactions. Therefore, so many verses we see, once chanting of the holy name, a person cannot, more sins, whatever he'll commit, that also can be totally nullified by once chanting the holy name of the Lord. So, therefore, we see that throughout our scriptures, the process of devotional service has been glorified as the most powerful process. Although the primary goal is to achieve love of God, but secondarily, all the other sinful reactions, that also gets resolved easily. So, therefore, the first benefit of practicing devotional service, klesha agni. Klesha is suffering. Suffering is what? Mainly because of papa. So, klesha agni, it destroyed. That is the first benefit by practicing of pure devotional service. Rupa Goswami explains. Second is shubhada. Shubhada is it creates auspiciousness. Third is moksha laguta krit. When one engages in practicing devotional service, even liberation seems like insignificant. Moksha laguta krit. And the fourth benefit is sudurlabha. Devotional service is very rare. The fifth benefit of practicing bhakti is Sandarananda Visheshatma. It is like thick condensed bliss, like Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, Pratipadam Purna Amrita Aswadanam. So that's like Sandrananda Visheshatma. And the sixth benefit of practicing bhakti is Sri Krishna Akarshani. It attracts even the Supreme Lord Krishna. So Rupa Goswami explains that the first two, Kleshagni and Shubhada, they appear when one engages in sadhana bhakti. Immediately one can see the effect of our Kleshagni. The misery is reduced and one gets auspiciousness. And the third and the fourth, Moksha Lagutakrit and Sudurlabha, they appear during the stage of Bhava Bhakti. And the fifth and the sixth, Sandrananda Visheshatma and Sri Krishna Akarshani, they appear at the stage of Prema Bhakti. So, like that, even while beginning to practice devotional service at the stage of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, one can experience the effects which Rupa Goswami explains, that how a person who comes to Krishna consciousness, immediately he can feel how he was suffering before, and after coming to the process of devotional service, like Bhagavatam gives the analogy, Pantha Swa Sharanam Yatha. Someone, a traveler who has been wandering in the sun from morning till night. He has been burning in the scorching sun during the summer hot season. He feels very much thirsty, very much suffering. But as soon as he comes home, he feels very much satisfied. So, in the same way, when a living entity has been suffering in this material world, suffering the scorching heat of all the different kinds of miseries, but as soon as he comes to devotional service of the Lord, it is as if the person has come back home. He feels like a very soothing, cooling experience. So that's how so many verses we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which speaks that as soon as one takes up to the devotional service of the Lord, begins to chant and hear about the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord, immediately he experiences freedom from suffering. Shoka moha bhayapa. Yasyam vai shruyamanayam Krishne parama purushe bhaktir utpadyate pumsaha shoka moha bhayapa. When one engages in hearing, begins the process of bhakti through hearing, then the primary result is bhaktir utpadyate pumsaha. Krishna is born in the heart, or devotion to the Lord is born. And the secondary benefit is one's shoka, lamentation, moha, illusion, and bhaya, fear, is automatically mitigated. So there are so many verses in Srimad Bhagavatam which is actually glorifying the process of devotional service. When someone comes, he can experience this. So that's how we see here that Indra in today's section has committed the sinful act of killing a Brahmana Vishwarupa, and because of which he is suffering the sinful reaction. For 1 year he suffered, and later on he transferred all the sinful reactions, requesting woman, trees, earth, and water to accept it, and he becomes free of that sinful reaction. Then we discussed how for devotees, just by engaging in devotional service of the Lord, they get free from all kinds of sinful reaction. They don't have to do anything else. So that's how we discussed today. So if there are any questions or comments, we can take it up.
Thank you so much, bro. My question is like, how Indra can he distributed his sins to the four things, bro?
Yeah, that at our level we can't understand, huh?
He should um, suffer on his own because he have done sin.
Mm.
He should suffer. So in our
Mm.
life also we
So
do
it is
sin.
explained that first thing is he had the power even to neutralize all the sins. The reactions that came, he could have neutralized. He had that power. But still, he did not neutralize. He suffered for 1 year. And after 1 year, he distributed to all these four. And when the four accepted, he gave them different kinds of benedictions like that. So that system is possible there. Huh? Here we may not be able to do that kind that I am suffering. So I transfer to all four of you. You accept, and I will give you some reward. That kind of system may not be there at our level here, but at the celestial level, for those people, that kind of system is available like that.
And bro, like even that sin has been still they are suffering, right, bro? Like water or trees, land, woman.
Yeah, yeah,
Still that's
yeah. We are seeing, na? Tree sky, it is explained how that sap is there, water ka bubbles, like that. It is explained. Yeah. Okay. Grantarash. Yes, Mataji. Premila Mataji, Adi Keshav Guru. Ah.
Sorry, bro. I was waiting you to answer him.
Ah.
Uh, you were talking about offending gurus,
Hmm.
okay? Not following the instruction of your gurus. Now, sometimes instruction are given directly, or sometimes the instruction comes through his classes or through somebody else. The instruction is given to somebody else. But what if you don't have the capacity to follow it, or rather you don't, you give the reason that you don't have the capacity to follow it, and you don't want to follow it, then what happens?
Hmm. So if the instruction comes from guru or his authorities, representatives, and we don't have the
Not
capacity
representative. The
directly
guru has given
given.
the instruction to maybe your god brothers, god sisters, or through his classes,
Hmm.
right? And
And we are unable to follow.
we are unable to follow.
Hmm.
Maybe I think I'm not able to follow. I may want, I can follow, but I don't want to follow. But I say I'm unable to follow. Then what happens?
Like, whatever my few thoughts on this, I can share. Like, if we are unable to follow something because of whatever reasons, and if it has come from guru or something, it can be also communicated or discussed. What is the difficulty to follow? Why the instructions is not being able to follow? If there is some genuine reason or something, like we hear many times that guru's instructions can be delayed. Like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave some instruction to Prabhupada. For a long time, it was delayed, but he had it in his mind, but eventually he accomplished that. So many times there could be a delay in executing the instructions of Guru. It can never be disobeyed, but there could be a delay in following certain instructions. Like Prabhupada gave some instructions to His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj that you have to write. So maybe initial 20, 30 years he was unable to execute that order of Prabhupada. It was order of Guru. But later on, when he got time, he executed that. That could be one reason, because in the current situation, some order of Guru is unable to follow. So in the future, I may be able to follow in a more maybe convenient time or whatever. Or else, if there is some really difficult that cannot be followed, then it needs to be discussed with the Guru directly if he's available, or his uh, entrusted disciples, senior disciples, through whom the order is coming. So it can be discussed why, what is the difficulty, like that. So like that.
Thank you.
ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की